Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. I hope everyone had a great holiday and is settling into the new year. I thought I'd start today with some New Year's accounting resolutions. And these are some resolutions for my small business customers and people who have small businesses. So some useful accounting tips to help you get through your business finances up to date and ready for the new year. So let's start with number one, and that's review your financials. What am I talking about here? A lot of times when I meet with clients, they don't know what their financial situation is until they've gone through and put together all their receipts. And one of the things I try to explain to them is that you need to know this information as you go. So one of the things that I definitely recommend for your New Year's resolution is to get a hold of some quality accounting software. And you need to really use it. You need to invest the time in understanding how it's used so that you can make sure that all of your financial figures make sense and that you know what those financial figures are throughout the year. Number two, talk to your accountant. Talk to people like me. You know, we can offer some great guidance as you're going throughout the year. You know, when we see at the end of the year, when it's time to do taxes, yeah, we can do a great job of putting those taxes on the tax returns. But it's really past the time when we can really do much to help you. So one of the things that I recommend for my clients is what we call our monthly fixed fee clients, where we actually get involved in looking at your finances on a monthly basis. We do that by using QuickBooks online or some other software. And then we really take a hard look at your financials on a monthly basis, and we compare where you are this year versus where you were last year. And the sooner you get this started, the better off you're going to be. Number three, review growth, revenue, and sales goals. And these are some questions that I ask my clients. And unfortunately, most of my business clients are so busy putting out fires that they don't take the time to really understand what's going on. You have to ask yourself these questions. Question number one, did your business grow? You know, what does it look like this year versus last year? When I take a look at financials, I'm less concerned about what the financials look like this year as comparing those couple periods. You know, did your revenues and profits compare? You know, how did your revenues and profits compare with the previous year? You know, are you making more money this year? If you're not making more money, are you spending more? You know, what is the reason that, you know, maybe your net income is down? Or maybe it's another situation where your net income's really up because you've been keeping an eye on expenses. You know, are your sales trending up? You know, you take a look at the sales graphs in your accounting software, but you got to be using them. You know, if you're bringing your accountant or somebody like me a box of receipts and say, okay, Ralph, here, put this together. You know, you don't really know how your business is done. Now, you know, a lot of people will argue with me and say, well, you know, Ralph, I can look at my checking account and see if I have money in there, whether I'm doing well or not. Yeah, that might be true, but I think you're missing out on some opportunities. Also important in that is look at your expenditures over the past 12 months. You know, is there anything that you should be concerned about? You know, for example, are the cost of, you know, utilities going up or the cost of labor going up? You know, if the costs are going up, are you seeing a increase in income at the same time? And then most importantly, you know, if you made a list of your goals, did you achieve them? You know, it's all about trying to get an understanding of how your business has changed from the prior year. And if you wait until, you know, the year is over, you're not going to know how your business is done. This is where, again, I stressed this before, the professional advice of an accountant comes in because they can sit down with you and go over your financials. Step number 4, stay up to date with tax law and filing deadlines. Now, I don't expect any of my clients to be tax experts. That's what they pay me for. But that being said, they need to keep an eye on what's going on. Like this new tax plan, I've gotten a lot of calls from clients about that. But what scares me is I've not gotten a lot of calls from other clients that should be thinking about this. You know, talk to your accountant. That's another reason why we push our monthly accounting services because, you know, it gives you the opportunity to talk with me or somebody like me on a monthly basis and understanding how the things that are going on in your business are affecting the bottom line. And most importantly, understand when your taxes are due so that you can plan ahead to make sure you've got all your information together. You know, set up a calendar for yourself. You know, Ralph needs this information now, so therefore I've got to work on it here. Now, if you're using good software, then this should be less of an issue. Frankly, right now, you know, with it being the beginning of the year, Most of my clients who we work with on a monthly basis are pretty much ready to go to their tax return. We have some odds and ends to clean up. But for the most part, we already know what the year-end tax returns are going to look like. The next step, update your payroll. Again, this comes down to a software decision. Update your internal systems to make sure they're still up to date. We're going to be having a change to the tax tables coming out soon. So you're going to make sure you're aware of that so that your employees get the benefit of those reduced taxes. You might talk about, handing out bonuses. Another idea that is a great time to start is thinking about offering direct deposit to your employees so that you don't have to fumble around with paper checks. And, we have a great payroll program that we work with, and, talk to us or talk to somebody else about the benefits to making that easier for you. And one of the big things I tell clients to do right now is review your employee status. Make sure that each person is categorized correctly. Make sure that if you've got subcontractors, that they are truly subcontractors. And I've talked about that in another broadcast. Or if they're employees, make sure you've got up-to-date W-4 forms. Make sure you've got their information correct because we're getting ready to send out W-2s. We talked about this again, but the next step is to get your accounting software up to date. You'd be surprised how many clients I have that are using QuickBooks desktop version from 7 or 8 years ago. And that's fine, but it's not up to date, and there may be some things that you're missing. And one of the things that we've moved all of our clients to QuickBooks Online because then, it reduces your IT costs because you don't have to maintain that internally. It also makes it a lot easier to interact with your accountant. And most of these offer a free trial. There's QuickBooks Online, there's Xero, there's a whole bunch of them. I'm a big fan of QuickBooks Online because I think it's captured the market. The next thing you want to do is list your goals for the year. Take some time and sit down and plan what you want to happen for the next year. Make a short list of your main goals for the year and put them somewhere you can see them. And every day revisit them. And, if you find yourself always putting out fires, and I've talked about this in another episode, spend some time doing some strategic planning. Put these goals in front of you and every day look at them and say, am I doing what I need to do to get to those goals? They might include sales targets, revenue figures, opening new locations, taking on more staff, or improving business relationships with existing clients. You need to set goals and you need to make sure you're working to achieve them. Next thing you might want to consider is check in with surveys, customers, do a year-end review, talk to your main customers and ask them, what could we be doing better or differently? What are 3 main things we do well? What are 3 main things we don't do well? When did you decide to use our products in the first place? Why did you make that decision? What brought you to us? Would you recommend our product or service? It's something that my marketing folks are always on me about, referrals, and it's so true. But you need to make sure you're reaching out to your customers and getting a baseline understanding of how things are going. And then finally, I go back to the same thing I said a few times, and that is manage your finances by selecting good software, work with a good accountant, and we talked in our last broadcast about how to find one of those people. So I sure hope this was helpful to you to get your financial resolutions for a business off to a good start.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware, and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.